Whispers beneath the rain. The rain had been falling for hours, soft, endless, like a song that refused to end. Through the fogged glass of the old cafe, Elias watched the streetlights flicker over puddles. Each drop carried a memory, and every memory led back to her, Amara. They met on a day much like this one years ago. She had been sitting at the same table, sketching faces of strangers on a napkin. He had asked for sugar, and she had looked up, smiled, and said, "You don't need sugar. You already speak like someone who writes poems." That single line changed everything. For weeks after, Elias found excuses to visit the cafe. He'd pretend to read, but always ended up watching her draw. She painted silence into beauty. Every line, every curve, every trace of sadness made the world softer. One evening, as the rain whispered outside, she looked at him and said, "Do you ever feel like some moments are trying to stay alive forever?" He nodded, like they're afraid to die. She smiled. "Then let's make one." And she took his hand, leading him outside into the rain. They didn't talk. They didn't need to. The street was empty, the sky grey, and the air smelled like something new beginning. Amara spun slowly in the rain, her hair catching the silver light, her laughter echoing through the quiet town. Elias thought, this is what forever feels like. Years passed. They built dreams together, books, paintings, nights filled with half-burned candles and quiet music. But like rain turning to mist, love too can fade when the world pulls too hard. Amara's art began to take her to cities he could not follow, and Elias, bound to his family and his father's bookstore, stayed behind. They promised to write. They did at first. Letters filled with sketches, verses, and plans for one more summer together. But life, cruel, busy, beautiful, moved on. Tonight, after 7 years, Elias returned to the cafe. It hadn't changed much. The same clock ticked above the counter, and the same old man still hummed behind the espresso machine. Only the world outside was different. Colder, faster, lonelier. He ordered her favourite, chamomile tea with honey, and placed it across from him. Then he took a napkin and began to draw. His lines were shaky, unsure, but full of memory. He was halfway through sketching her eyes when a voice behind him said softly, "You finally learned to draw." He froze. That voice, calm, warm, and still carrying that playful melody, he turned around. There she was, Amara. Her hair was shorter now, her eyes deeper, her smile smaller but truer. The world seemed to fall silent. Even the rain outside paused, listening. "You kept the same table," she said, sitting down. "I kept everything," he whispered. She looked at the napkin. "You remembered how I used to draw strangers. You were never a stranger." A soft laugh escaped her lips, followed by a quiet sigh. "Do you ever wish we'd chosen differently?" she asked. "Every day," he replied. "But wishing is the cruelest form of remembering." There was a silence then, not empty, but full of the years they'd lost, the letters they never sent, the moments that waited for them beneath the rain. Finally, she reached across the table and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold, trembling slightly, but her touch felt like home. She said, "Elias, I didn't come here to stay." "Then why?" to say goodbye properly, not with distance, but with silence. Outside, the rain began again, slow, gentle, endless. They sat there, saying nothing, just breathing in the same moment one last time. For a second, the world forgot how to move. When she finally stood to leave, she looked at him with eyes that carried both sorrow and peace. She said softly, "Maybe some loves aren't meant to last forever, only long enough to change who we are." And before he could answer, she was gone. Out the door, into the rain, her figure fading into the silver mist. Elias sat there, staring at her empty cup. He picked up the napkin, finished her eyes, and placed it inside a book, the same book she once loved, Letters to the Rain. He closed it, smiled faintly, and whispered, "You were my favorite chapter." That night, when the cafe finally closed, the rain stopped. And for the first time in years, the stars came out, quiet, distant, and full of her light.